Hello students, welcome to the online lecture series of St. Andrews Institute of Technology and Management, Gurugram. Myself Satinder Vats, Assistant Professor in ETC Department. In today's video, we will see discrete time Fourier transforms and its properties, which is a part of Unit 2nd of Signals and System, EE 4th semester. So as we have already seen the expressions for continuous time Fourier transforms in discrete time Fourier transform, we will perform the Fourier transform operation on the discrete signals, that is the signals which are discrete in time domain but continuous in amplitude or magnitude domain. So if I have a signal xn in the time discrete signal in the time domain, then its Fourier transform will be represented as this one, that is summation. As we are operating on the discrete time signals, we will use the summation function instead of the integral function as we used in the continuous time Fourier transform. So it would be n is equal to minus infinite to infinite xn multiply e raised to power minus j omega n. Okay, and if we calculate the inverse Fourier transform, then the xn can be calculated using the Fourier transform x of j omega n and integrate it over the frequency range and divided by 1 upon 2 pi. So this is the discrete Fourier transform pair. Okay, now let's try to understand it using an example in which we are given a discrete time signal xn whose value is a raised to power n u of n. As you can see here, we have un, which is a unit signal in time discrete domain, which can be given as this one. In discrete domain, unit signal is represented as this one, and with that we have an. So we have an un. So since un is defined for the positive half of the x-axis or the time axis, this signal will be defined only for n greater than 0 or n is equal to 1, 2, 3 up to infinite, as n is an integer in discrete signal. Okay, so if we are having this signal with us, then its Fourier transform can be calculating using the same formula, summation n is equal to minus infinite to infinite an un multiply e raised to power minus j omega n. So since it is a right-handed signal, its limit would be n is equal to 0 to infinite, and the expression becomes a into e raised to power minus j omega raised to whole power n. So if I solve it, it becomes a infinite gp whose first term is 1 and the ratio r is a into e raised to power minus j omega. So as we all know, the sum of infinite gp is 1 upon a minus r. So it would a upon 1 minus r. So it becomes this one, that is 1 upon 1 minus a into e raised to power minus j omega. So this is the Fourier transform for the signal a raised to power n un. So in time domain, discrete time domain, a and un can be represented as a function whose value is at n is equal to 0 is 1, then it is decreasing as we go to infinity. So if I take the Fourier transform in it comes out to be a continuous or a periodic signal in frequency domain whose maximum value is 1 upon 1 minus a at omega is equal to 0, and minimum value is 1 upon 1 plus a at omega is equal to pi, and these are minus pi and minus 2 pi. Okay, so this is our function in frequency domain, and this is for a greater than 0. If a is less than 0, since we have a less than 1, so it can be a can be from minus 1 to 1. So for greater than 0, that is from, so this is for a greater than 0, that is 0 to 1, and this is for a less than 0 and greater than minus 1. So these are the two functions, and depending on the value of a. So we can see these are the signal in time domain was discrete, but in frequency domain it becomes a continuous time and periodic signal. Okay, so now let's see one more example. And we have xn is equal to a raised to power modulus of n. So the Fourier transform can be calculated as I am considering the case of a greater than 0 and less than 1. It can also be a less than 0 and greater than 1, but I am considering only the case of a greater than 0. So it can be a raised to power n into e raised to power minus j omega n, which I can split again into two functions depending on the modulus of n. Okay, so it comes out to be summation of n 0 to infinity for this part and n minus infinity to 1 for this part. So this again becomes two infinite geometric progressions, in which in this one the first term is 1, and in this one if I replace m with minus n, it becomes this one, and in this GP first term is a into e raised to power j omega. That's why it is coming like this, a upon 1 minus r. So first term is a into e raised to power j omega 1 minus ratio. So ratio is a e raised to power j omega. So the Fourier transform, discrete Fourier transform, that is DTFT of this function comes out to be 1 upon 1 minus a into e raised to power minus j omega plus this term. If I add both of these terms, it becomes this, as cos omega is nothing but e raised to power j omega plus e raised to power minus j omega divided by 2. So using this equality, we can transform the exponential function into cos function, so it becomes this one. Now if I plot this graph in frequency domain, in time domain, we can draw it as like this. Since it is defined for both left and right side, our Fourier transform is a function which is a continuous and periodic functions with the maximum value of 1 plus a upon 1 minus a at omega is equal to 0, and the minimum values at omega is equal to pi minus pi 3 pi. Okay, and the minimum value is 1 minus a upon 1 plus a. So this is how we can represent the function in frequency domain. So now let's see some of the properties of DTFT, that is discrete time Fourier transforms. So first is periodicity of the DTFT. We have already seen that the discrete time Fourier transform is a periodic signal, whereas in continuous time Fourier transform it was not the case, it was not periodic. But DTFT is periodic with a time of 2 pi. So x of e j omega plus 2 pi would be equal to x of e j omega. That is, the value is repeating itself after the time period of t is equal to 2 pi. This will be the case in all the DTFT transforms. Okay, then the next one is linearity, as we saw in the CTFT. Again, if I take the Fourier transform of linear combination of two signals, it would be the linear combination in frequency domain as well. Okay, third is the time shifting and frequency shifting. If I perform the shifting in time domain, that is n minus n naught, then a term e raised to power minus j omega n naught will be multiplied in the Fourier transform of xn. So this is the case of time shifting. While if I perform shifting in the frequency domain, there will be a term multiply e raised to power j omega naught n into the time domain, where omega naught is the frequency by which we have shifted our frequency domain signal. So this is how you can do the time shifting. If it is shifted in time, then this term will be multiplied in frequency domain. If it is shifting in frequency, then this term will be multiplied in time domain. Okay, next is conjugation. If xn Fourier transform is this x of e raised to power j omega, then the Fourier transform of conjugate of xn would be conjugate of e raised to power minus j omega. The frequency will be negative. There will be a negative term in the Fourier transform. It becomes e raised to power minus of j omega. So if I take the transform of even part of the signal xn, so it comes out to the real of Fourier transform of x e j omega. And if I take the Fourier transform odd part of the signal, then it comes out to be the j into imaginary of x e j omega. That is, the real part of the frequency transform of xn is equal to the even part of xn in time domain, and imaginary part of Fourier transform is equal to the odd part of signal in time domain. That is, it is the Fourier transform of odd part, and this is the Fourier transform of the even part. So as we know that a signal xn can be written as even plus odd signal. So if I take the Fourier transform, it comes out to be x e j omega e raised to power j omega. So it becomes real plus j imaginary. So for even part it will be the transform, and for odd part this part will be the transform. So now let's see differencing. If I have the difference of two time shifting signals xn minus 1, xn minus 1 is the time shifted version. So we have already seen that for xn it is x of e j omega, and for since we are performing time shifting, there will be a multiplication term of e raised to power j omega in it. So it becomes 1 minus e raised to power minus j omega into x of j omega. You can use the shifting property. If we have time reversal, that is, if I want to calculate the Fourier transform of signal x of minus n, which is a time reversal function of xn, so its Fourier transform will be x e raised to power minus j omega. Instead of plus j omega, it will be minus j omega. Now time expansion. If I divide n by k, that is, we have a signal xn. If I multiply n by k, then I have a since it is a expanded function, x n upon k is a expanded function, so its Fourier transform would come out to be x of e raised to power j k omega. This k would be multiplied in the frequency domain. If it is divided here in time domain, then it will be multiplied in frequency domain. Similarly, differentiation. If I perform the differentiation of the signal, that is this signal in frequency, differentiation in frequency, then its Fourier transform would be minus jn xn e raised to power minus j omega n, that is the Fourier transform of n, that is if I multiply n, that is the time with the signal, n xn, then it will be the Fourier transform, that is the differential, first differential of the function this. So if I take the frequency function and differentiate it with respect to omega, then the first differential will be the Fourier transform of n x, and n is multiplied here. Again the Parseval's relation which we saw in the continuous time Fourier transform, the energy of the signal, that is xn square summation minus infinity to infinity, can be written in the frequency domain as well, that is it is integrated over the entire frequency and the integral of square d omega, that is x e j omega whole square d omega. So this is the function to represent the energy in frequency and time domain. Now there are some of the basic DTFT transform pairs of some signals. So first is e raised to power j omega naught n. So its Fourier transform comes out to be 2 pi summation minus infinity to infinity del omega minus omega naught minus 2 pi L. So this omega naught is subtracted in the frequency domain. Since the Fourier transform of 1 is this one, if I multiply 1 by this function e raised to power j omega naught, so there will be a frequency shifting of omega naught. So using the frequency shifting you can solve this function. For cos omega naught, it will be a function of e j omega naught plus e raised to power minus j omega naught by 2. So it comes out to be this one, two functions. Similarly we can find out for sine omega naught, which is e raised to power j omega naught minus e raised to power minus j omega naught upon 2j. So it comes out to be pi by j upon this function. Okay, and for 1 the Fourier transform is del omega minus 2 pi L, where L can be 0 to infinity or minus infinity to infinity. Okay, and this is the Fourier transform for a periodic square wave. It comes out to be 2 pi del k minus infinity to into infinity ak del omega minus 2 pi k by n naught, where n naught is the time period of this periodic signal and ak is the Fourier series coefficient ak. So for that you need to learn the Fourier series, which is not the part of signal and systems in EE. So next let's move to the next example, an un, which we have already seen. For a less than 1 it would be 1 upon 1 minus a into e raised to power minus j omega. For an impulse function del n, the Fourier transform DTFT would be 1. For a unit signal, that is a signal of this form, the Fourier transform would be this: 1 upon 1 minus e raised to power minus j omega plus pi del omega minus 2 pi k. And for a time shifted version of impulse, that is this, the Fourier transform will be, this term will be multiplied in 1, as it is a shifting version in time domain. So this function will be multiplied in the frequency domain, so it comes e raised to power minus j omega n. Now if I multiply n plus 1 into a n u n, or this signal, then it will become the square of the denominator, that is 1 upon 1 minus a e raised to power minus j omega whole square. So you need to go through all these basic Fourier transform in order to calculate the other transforms. Okay, so this is for this lecture. In this lecture we saw about discrete time Fourier transform, its properties, and some of basic Fourier transform pairs. Okay, thank you very much.